Hi friends! Happy Sunday! Kumusta naman po kayo? Who among you loves to write poems? Kasi ako personally, gustong-gusto ko nagsusulat, especially whenever I feel too emotional, whenever I feel happy, sad, I do write. Pero ngayon, given yung hectic and seemingly chaotic life natin, ano ba ang lugar ng poetry sa buhay natin? Paano natin mabibigyan ng deeper meaning ang poetry? Luckily today, we have a poet and a professor from the Ateneo de Manila University, and also author of 2 published poetry books from the Ateneo Press and 1 forthcoming from UP Press. My dear friends, let us all welcome Dr. Charlie Veric, and today is about to tell us a story of
how I met the father. So, how can poetry help us to cope with life? That is to say, how can poetry be a balm for living today? When I was a child, my father would teach me one thing before crossing the street. And he would tell me to stop, to look, and to listen. To do that, one gets to survive the road. Poetry is something similar, I think, in that poetry allows us to stop, to look, and to listen. It may seem like a very simple instruction, but I think in those instructions one can find the basic rules that can guide us in living. How so? Stop, we need to pause more. Look, we need to observe more, and listen, we need to make more meaning, and so on. There was a work by C.K. Williams, which is actually my favorite, and the title is Invisible Mending. It's about the persona who's taking a walk one day on the street, and then he notices a storefront window. And in the storefront window, there are 3 old women trying to repair a piece of clothing. And he simply stops and observes what the women are doing. But in doing so, he finds meaning in himself. He finds meaning in his day. And the meaning has to do with being forgiving. And the meaning that has to do with forgiving oneself and repairing oneself in the end. Let me read that particular poem by C.K. Williams, Invisible Mending. 3 women old as angels, bent as ancient apple trees, who, in a storefront window, with magnifying glasses, needles fine as hair, and shining scissors, parted woof from warp and pruned what would in human tissue have been sacred. Abrasions, rents and frays, slits and chars and acid splashes, filaments that gave way of their own accord from the stress of spanning tiny trifling gaps, but which in a wounded psyche make a murderer's maze. Their hands as hard as horn, their eyes as keen as steel. The threads they worked with must have seemed as thick as ropes on ships, as cables on a crane. But still their heads would lower, their teeth bare to nip away the raveled ends. Only sometimes would they lift their eyes to yours to show how much lovelier than these twists of silk and serge the garments of the mind. Yet how much more benign their implements than mind's procedures of forgiveness and repair. And in your loneliness you'd notice how really very gently they take the fabric to its last, with what solicitude gather up worn edges to be bound, with what severe but kind detachment wield their amputating shears, forgiveness and repair. So, what is the meaning in stopping, in looking, in listening? When you read poetry, you make time for yourself. And And when you make time for yourself, you think about work that does not necessarily involve the everyday. So stop more, observe more, and make more meaning in your life. That is to say, read more poetry.
So, there you have it, friends. Stop, look, and listen. Lalo na given itong fast-paced sa mundo natin, oftentimes, sa kamamadali natin, we overlook yung mga little, as what Dr. Charlie said, little yet meaningful details of life. Sir, Dr. Charlie, thank you for gracing our vlog this week.
Maraming salamat.
You may want to endorse your book to our viewers.
Okay, one book is forthcoming from the University of the Philippines Press. Its title is The Love of a Certain Age.
The Love of a Certain Age. Wait for it, and hope you buy Dr. Charlie's poetry book. My dear friends, have a fruitful week ahead. See you next week.